Now this last one is what I call a sampler pad. So what I've got is I've pulled together like scraps of book pages, tea-dyed papers, leftover bits of photos, tea and coffee dyed paper, all sorts. You can also put like fabric in here. I've got some scrapbook paper. Just go through your scraps, and what you're wanting to do is work out which way. So I want that this way up, and that's going to be my back, and then all I'm going to do is line them up with the top here and just kind of spread them over, spread them out so that it's end up being as even as possible. And I mean, if you had scraps of fabric, you could put those in as well. And the only thing we do need to do is we're going to use same as we did here. We're going to have a couple of holes, probably about an inch in from either side. So you just need to make sure that every piece of paper is going to be captured by one of the holes. And I mean, this is a great way to put in a whole lot of different papers. If you've got leftover paper from making the journal, all the little wee scraps, you can put pretty much anything you want in there. I mean, I've got some trimmings off other printables that I've used. Scrapbook paper, tea-dyed paper. There's some of the leftover lined paper. Put that one over that side. The only thing I am going to do is just, and I mean it doesn't need to be straight, it can be torn, is I am just going to make sure that I do put like one larger piece on top. And kind of box everything up to make sure it fits. You'd want to make sure that it is sort of shorter than and narrower than the item, like here it's a journal card that you're using as a base. And so now I am just going to attempt to, yeah, too much there, but at least I've got a hole, so split it apart. So that's one, and now I've got this, you can do the second one. Two. So that lines up, and again it doesn't need to be exact because we're going to use some loose ribbon to tie it all together. Slide that in just to get a mark. Yeah, it's about the same distance in. Oops. That's some of those pages from that side. I can tuck those back in. I mean, this is probably when you really want to use a binder clip. Would have been a good idea, Paula. Right, so we'll just kind of do that in hindsight. So we will lift this up about halfway, or maybe another couple there. Yep. Slide that in and punch that through, and then do the same on that second half. Right, so there we go. So now I'll fix up that other side again in a minute, but I should have. So I'm just using seam binding for this. So I know my holes are there, so I need to go at least 2. So we'll double that and then add a wee bit more just for luck. Oops, I can hear the police helicopter overhead. So hopefully you can't hear that on the video as well, but probably you can. We're still in lockdown as I'm filming this, so I'm guessing someone might be doing something they shouldn't, and I'm filming this well ahead of time. There's not a lot I can do about the police helicopter, sorry. So now we're just going to push that through, and now I'm going to use this very carefully to make sure I have everything lined up with a hole there. Nothing's falling out. No, that is good. Apart from that side there. So we're going to go back through that other side. Make sure that ends are pretty even. I've managed to twist that, of course. Alright, so there we go. So I mean, you can use, I've just used scraps of paper in here, but you can use fabric scraps if you wanted to, or a mix of paper and fabric. So it's there. And I mean, this kind of binding is ideal because that allows you or the journal user to take out the scraps and then rearrange them or use them at wherever they want. And for instance, go through and say, oh, okay, yes, I want to use this particular page, or oh, yep, no, that's a perfect size there. Without too much difficulty, and you can they can always add in, or you can add in extra pieces to your heart's content, so you've always got a little wee embellishment to or an ephemera to go in your journals.